The Pittsburgh Steelers, fresh off securing their quarterback room for the upcoming season, are now turning their attention to bolstering their pass-catching unit, a critical component of their offensive strategy as they aim to compete for a Super Bowl. With a roster that blends veteran leadership and youthful potential, the Steelers are acutely aware of the need to enhance their receiving core to complement their quarterback play and elevate their offensive output. While the team has made significant strides in recent years, including fortifying their defense and stabilizing their quarterback situation, the pass-catching group remains a work in progress, with clear gaps that need to be addressed to maximize their potential in the highly competitive AFC North. The Steelers have already explored several avenues to address this need, with trade discussions being a focal point of their off-season strategy. Reports indicate that the team engaged in trade talks with two NFC South teams regarding high-profile wide receivers Chris Olave and Chris Godwin. However, both inquiries were rebuffed, as the New Orleans Saints and Tampa Bay Buccaneers, respectively, were unwilling to part with their star pass catchers. Despite these setbacks, the Steelers have not been deterred and are continuing to explore options within the division and beyond, signaling their determination to add a significant playmaker to their roster. NFL insider Ian Rappaport, speaking on Good Morning Football, shed light on the Steelers' ongoing efforts to upgrade their pass-catching unit. "They've inquired about some other weapons, and I know we're talking about receivers, talking about pass catchers," Rappaport said. "They've had their eyes on some tight ends too. Jonnu Smith, there was a phone call there. Kyle Pitts, there was a phone call there. The Steelers are in the market, it seems, for at least one more playmaker." This revelation underscores the team's proactive approach, as they are not limiting their search to wide receivers but are also considering dynamic tight ends who could add versatility and explosiveness to their passing game. The interest in Atlanta Falcons tight ends Jonnu Smith and Kyle Pitts is particularly intriguing. Smith, a veteran known for his athleticism and ability to create mismatches, could provide a reliable target in the middle of the field, while Pitts, a former top 5 draft pick, represents a rare combination of size, speed, and playmaking ability. Acquiring either player would signal a bold move by the Steelers, as both have the potential to transform the team's offensive identity. Pitts, in particular, is a generational talent whose addition could elevate the Steelers' passing game to new heights, though prying him away from Atlanta would likely require a significant trade package. The Steelers' current pass-catching group, while talented, lacks the depth and proven production needed to compete with the elite offenses in the AFC. Wide receiver DK Metcalf is a bona fide star, capable of stretching defenses and winning one-on-one matchups, but the team needs a complementary piece to alleviate the pressure on him. Roman Wilson, a rookie with promise, Calvin Austin III, a speedster still finding his footing, and Robert Woods, a veteran with diminishing returns, are not seen as sufficient to round out the unit opposite Metcalf. Without a second dynamic playmaker, the Steelers risk overburdening their star receiver and limiting the effectiveness of their passing attack. The team's front office, led by General Manager Omar Khan, understands the urgency of addressing this issue. Whether it's during the upcoming minicamp, training camp, or as late as the November trade deadline, the Steelers are expected to make a move to bolster their receiving core. Potential targets could include players like Terry McLaurin, a consistent and versatile wide receiver from the Washington Commanders, or even a surprise name that emerges as teams reassess their rosters during the season. Some teams, particularly those struggling in the first half of the season, may look to trade established players for draft capital, providing an opportunity for the Steelers to strike. The Steelers' pursuit of a pass catcher is not just about immediate production but also about signaling their commitment to winning now. The team has constructed a roster with a strong defense, a revamped offensive line, and a quarterback room that blends experience and potential. However, their approach in recent years has often been described as having one foot in, one foot out, balancing a push for a Super Bowl with an eye toward future development. This strategy, while prudent in some respects, has led to consistent but unspectacular seasons, with records like 9-8 or 10-7 and mid-round draft picks that fail to address long-term needs, particularly at quarterback. Adding a second dynamic playmaker to the offense would send a clear message to both the locker room and the fan base. The Steelers are all in on pursuing their 7th Lombardi trophy. The veterans on the team, many of whom have experienced playoff disappointments in recent years, would see this as a sign of confidence from the front office. For fans, who have watched the team navigate the post-Ben Roethlisberger era with mixed results, a bold move for a player like Pitts, McLaurin, or Smith would reignite excitement and optimism about the team's championship prospects. The Steelers' history is steeped in success, with 6 Super Bowl titles and a tradition of excellence that few franchises can match. However, their last championship came in 2008, and the hunger for another is palpable. The current roster, with its blend of young talent and seasoned veterans, has the potential to compete with the best teams in the AFC, but only if the offense can keep pace with high-powered units like those of the Kansas City Chiefs, Buffalo Bills, and Cincinnati Bengals. A dynamic pass catcher would not only improve the team's ability to move the ball through the air but also open up opportunities for the running game, led by Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, by forcing defenses to respect the passing threat. The Steelers' interest in players like Jonnu Smith and Kyle Pitts also highlights their desire for versatility in the passing game. Tight ends who can line up in multiple positions, run precise routes, and create mismatches are increasingly valuable in today's NFL. Pitts, for instance, has the size and athleticism to play as a traditional tight end, a slot receiver, or even an outside receiver, making him a nightmare for opposing defenses. Smith, while not as heralded, has proven his ability to contribute as both a receiver and a blocker, adding another dimension to the offense. Either player would give the Steelers' play callers more options and make the offense less predictable. As the Steelers navigate the offseason, the question is not if they will add another pass catcher but when and who. The team's front office has shown a willingness to be aggressive in the trade market, as evidenced by their inquiries about Olave, Godwin, Smith, and Pitts. They are also likely keeping an eye on other potential trade candidates, as well as players who may become available due to contract disputes or roster cuts. The Steelers have a history of making calculated moves, and their current approach suggests they are prepared to strike when the right opportunity presents itself. The addition of a high-caliber pass catcher would also have a ripple effect on the rest of the roster. For the quarterbacks, whether it's Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, or another signal caller, having another reliable target would make their job easier and allow them to take more risks downfield. For the offensive line, which has been a point of emphasis in recent drafts, a stronger passing game would reduce the pressure to protect for long periods, as quick strike plays become more viable. Even the defense, which has carried the team in recent years, would benefit from an offense that can sustain drives and keep them off the field. The Steelers fan base, known for its passion and high expectations, is watching closely. The team's postseason appearances in recent years have been marred by early exits, and the lack of a consistent passing game has often been a limiting factor. By adding a dynamic playmaker, the Steelers can address this weakness and give their fans reason to believe that a deep playoff run is possible. The city of Pittsburgh, with its rich football history, deserves a team that is not content with mediocrity but is willing to take risks to achieve greatness. In the coming weeks and months, the Steelers will have several opportunities to make a move. The minicamp and training camp periods will allow them to evaluate their current roster and identify specific needs. If a trade doesn't materialize before the season, the mid-season trade deadline offers another chance to acquire a difference-maker. The Steelers have the draft capital and cap space to make a significant deal, and their front office has a track record of making smart, strategic moves. The pursuit of a pass catcher is not just about one player or one season, it's about building a team that can compete at the highest level for years to come. The Steelers have a window of opportunity with their current roster, and adding a player like Kyle Pitts, Jonnu Smith, or Terry McLaurin could be the missing piece that pushes them over the top. The AFC is loaded with talent, and the path to the Super Bowl is never easy, but with the right additions, the Steelers can position themselves as legitimate contenders. As the offseason progresses, all eyes will be on Pittsburgh to see how they address this critical need. The team's leadership, from head coach Mike Tomlin to general manager Omar Khan, knows the stakes. A bold move for a dynamic pass catcher would not only strengthen the roster but also send a message to the rest of the league: the Pittsburgh Steelers are ready to compete for a championship. Whether it's a blockbuster trade for a star like Pitts or under-the-radar acquisition of a veteran like Smith, the Steelers are poised to make waves in the NFL. The time to act is now, and the Steel City is ready for its team to take the next step toward glory.